Morning again. Welcome to another segment of the history of Jamaican music, presented, of course, by yours truly, Richard Hugh Blackford. And today, I want to touch on the first genre, Mento music. You're listening in the background there to one of the pioneers, Lord Power. Now, Mento music is largely drawn from the musical traditions that came into the Caribbean, particularly Jamaica, from the slave trade. West Africans brought their musical traditions with them, and they would play their instruments, which were acoustic instruments, the shaker, the banjo, the Rhumba box, which was a contraption designed with 3 or 4 pieces of metal that thumped into the empty shell to create that bass beat. And the music was largely designed around the experiences of the slaves on the plantation, where they basically poked fun at their experiences. It focused on the poverty to a large extent. I addressed some of the issues of levity, and in its own way had some risque elements associated with it. But the estate owners at the time would encourage the participation of the slaves in this musical exercises, and in a number of instances would reward them for providing music, especially to their own social gatherings. Granted, more often than not, they had no clue what it is that these guys were singing about. But by 1940s in Jamaica, at the end of the war, the Second World War, the music industry in Jamaica had started to gather a little bit of speed, and I think there was a Glass Bucket Club in Kingston that decided to put on a little extravaganza, if you will, a gala, to encourage Jamaican performers, Jamaican creative people, to record some of the work that they were doing. And out of that, it identified a man that we now know as Lord Fly. Lord Fly, his name was actually Rupert Lyon, and he came from Lucy in Jamaica, born in 1905. Lyon loved his music, and so he came up, and in fact he was part of the military, got himself involved in the military, in an effort to go join the war effort, and he was stationed at the Sandy Gully military installation in Clarendon. Of course, after the war, between that period, he had been dallying around with his music, playing his variation of Trinidadian calypso, but with the same kind of Mento flavor. And I want us to give a little listen to this Lord Fly compilation, compilation. Here we go. Now this is a record that was put together. It was recorded by Stanley Mota of the period. Here we go. It's called YY.
Every time you're gonna feel like a fool, it is why. I take me down a
If you notice, this music have a big overlay of a saxophone, trumpet beat. Lord Fly was a saxophone player, played the trumpet too. So you will hear him coming in outside of the vocals with his instrument. Another contributor would have been Lord Flea. Lord Flea, again a Kingstonian, played most of his music at Adastra Gardens and at the Success Club. And in 1949, he earned himself a year-long engagement after he performed at a talent competition that was held at the Sugar Hill Club. In the early period, though, a lot of his music was attributed to a group called the Blue Mountain Caroliers, a little group of Jamaican calypsonians, if you will. Now, people like Ken Corey, Stanley Mota came into prominence during this time, because those were the guys. I think in my last video we talked about the sound system movement and how the sound system drove the recording industry. At the time, the 1950s, early to mid 1950s, we were depending largely on the music that was coming from the United States, and we depended heavily on those imports to drive the sound system movement. A big part of that was some of these kind of calypso. This is Dan Williams and his orchestra, another Mento musician out of Jamaica. Interestingly, the music was then classified incorrectly as Jamaican calypso. But again, here's another Stanley Mota's early recording, around 1953 this was. This is Dan Williams and his orchestra. So, this is the Jamaican foundation music, Mento, which ultimately influenced ska. The beat stepped up. A lot of the Jamaican musicians now, who again, coming out of the Alpha Boys School, which was the crucible that created this part of our Jamaican musical heritage. Again, I draw your attention to my big painting in the background there, featuring the great Don Drummond on trombone. But these were the alpha musicians who became the core of what we now know as the Scatterlights, Tommy and the other side, Tommy McCook and the Supersonics. So this is Mento, folks. This is where our music started. A big influencer of the later upcoming ska, and the foundation for our reggae music, which would come years later. And we have to thank again people like Ken Corey, who invested their resources in putting out this music. Yes, they make some money off it, but that's what capitalism is all about. Stanley Mota and his opening up of the recording industry. And last but by no means least, the one and only Edward Philip George Siaga, who was heavily invested in helping us to develop this music. Again, I will encourage you guys to, if you like my video, take the time out and subscribe. There is a lot more out there to come. I'm promising that I'm going to dive deep into the history of the music. And of course, I can't miss the opportunity to encourage you to support the venture. Buy my reggae t-shirts. Go to my website at yardabra.com. It's embedded into the post here that is associated with this video. And take a look around. You'll see something that you like. Subscribe. And then subscribe to my website. We have to keep the fire burning. We want to document our music history so that the generations that follow, you and I, will have something that they can fall back on. Most people don't really read anything, but people will take the time out and listen or watch something that they can relate to. Thanks again. Until next time.